Hi, all. Thank you very much, Sarah. I'm going to pull up the agenda here real quick. All right. Well, it's 4:03, so we will call this meeting to order. Can we, Chloe, can you go through the roll call, please?
Here.
Donahue.
Here.
Burr. Elliott.
Here.
Myers. Here. Pengilly.
Here.
Raber.
Did you hear that?
Got it. And then a welcome to Nowaki. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Nowaki, present, thanks.
And Bowen.
Present. All right. Thank you very much for that. First, I want to thank the committee for being patient with my poor attendance recently. I just have a standing conflict on Wednesdays, so it's rare that I can get out of it. I want to thank Matt for filling in for me. Thank you very much for doing that. I'm, keeping up with the activities of the committee by checking in with Superintendent Arkell and reading the minutes and the agendas and the meeting materials as they're circulated. I wish I could be there in person or at some point welcome in person Patty and Tia. Really, really glad to have you on the committee. Really, I think you're going to lend a lot to the conversation and the expertise. So thanks a lot for taking the time to be here. And, please feel free to reach out to me at any point by, phone or text or email. We can have a Zoom call or meet for coffee or something like that if you ever want to talk and get a, feel for sort of how the committee works and any questions you might have about the process. Happy to talk about that. I do have some availability, just not on Wednesdays. All right. And I think with that, Matt, I think I heard you there. I think I can see you. Maybe if I could turn it over to you for the remainder of the meeting, if that would be all right.
Sure.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Superintendent Arkell, is there anything else I can do to help here?
If you could stay on for a few minutes, Stacy, I think it'd be nice to have your input on the new business item B. So we'll have Matt go ahead and lead the agenda like you suggest, and then I'd just love to have your thoughts as we move forward. We've had a hard time getting folks kind of all in the same room, so hopefully this month and next month we'll be able to do that. I wanted to if it's okay, Madam Chair, just take a quick moment and again, welcome Tia and Patty. Let you know that I'm here as a resource. If you go through a first meeting or a couple of meetings and have additional questions, feel free to reach out to me. We can get a cup of coffee and just chat about the workload and then what you can expect and all that. And then what we tried to do today in discussions with Stacy on the agenda was sort of take a step back and talk about what the committee does to help sort of, what's the word I'm looking for when you go to college and there's a day that you orient you to the work that we're doing. And it's also a nice opportunity, I think, for the committee to make sure that we're still being as sort of relevant and as up to date with our assessments of the work that we do. So that's what we'll be talking about, and that's what I want Stacy to stay on for if she's able to.
Yep, no problem. Thank you for that.
So I think we need to do the minutes.
Yes, do the minutes, ma'am. Okay. Did everybody have a chance to review the minutes? Of course. Are there any questions or discussion about the minutes? Okay, how about we have a vote then to approve the minutes? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to.
Is there a second?
I'll
second it. All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Any opposed? Okay.
I'm not opposed, but I also didn't vote because I wasn't at the last meeting. I abstained.
The Open Space Clean Water Partnership Program application package. Commissioner Arkell.
I have a PowerPoint. It's been a long time since I've provided you guys the PowerPoint, so hopefully this is exciting.
I've missed it so much.
Wait first. Thank you, Chloe. So, the Open Space and Clean Water Advisory Committee. Some of you, this will will be new information. Others of you were here for all of it, so please bear with me as we do some review. In your packet, there is a couple of pieces of paper that will be useful for you to look at. So I'm trying to get the page number here, but Exhibit B is the Open Space and Clean Water Partnership Program. It's the 2021 application packet. Somebody is having trouble finding it, speak up, because I can't see you. But what I'd like to call your attention to is the 4th page, where it says Open Space and Clean Water Advisory Committee Primary Conservation Criteria. So in 2017, most of you, some of you worked with me to create these conservation criteria. And the purpose of this was to help guide partner applicants in understanding if their improvement project was applicable, relevant, able to access these funds. And it was also for the committee to guide your assessment and recommendation on whether or not those projects should be funded. And we've done small updates here and there. At first we had the application time period. There was like a window between August and November. Now we accept applications at a time. We've been doing small changes like that, but we haven't really looked back at this conservation criteria to make sure that it's still relevant. So how we developed this in the first place, I just wanted to revisit that very quickly. There were two general sources. The first source and the most important source that helped guide us in the development of this criteria was the ballot levy language itself. And so I have bolded the relevant elements of the levy language, and this is a quote from the ballot that was in 2015. So there's the purposes, right? Protect clean water and drinking water, wildlife habitat, critical open space, native plant species, and enhance recreational opportunities and trails. So you'll notice that these categories, category 1, 2, 3, 4, in the primary conservation criteria are all directly lifted from that ballot language. And then I also wanted to call attention to where we could be utilizing these fundings in areas such as the Boise foothills and the Boise River. So that doesn't preclude areas outside of the Boise foothills and the Boise River. That such as is kind of important because it opens it up for us to consider properties outside of the Boise foothills and the Boise River, as long as it's contributing to the conservation benefits identified above. The other sources that we use to help sort of flesh out what it means to be critical open space and to sort of have some secondary guidance that aligns with community planning were these other community planning efforts, all of which occurred before 2017. The Boise River Maintenance and Management Plan, Open Space Matters, our City of Boise Reserves Management Plan, and then the Around the Next Turn 10-year management plan for the Ridge to Rivers Trail Network. These three plans were years in the making and included thousands of comments from the public, and were a great place for us to look and say, how does the community define critical open space? What are some of the other conservation criteria that weren't identified specifically in the ballot language, but would benefit any ballot language type efforts? And so that's where we get the secondary criteria: wildfire mitigation, community engagement, and partnerships. Well, a few things have changed since 2017, and our conservation criteria does not include some of the community planning efforts and the policy updates that have been done up until 2020, really, 2021, excuse me. And some of those I've listed here. Those are the ones that kind of popped up to me. This is the Climate Action Roadmap, America the Beautiful initiative that we are participating in, where we're trying to find ways that Boise can support the effort to protect 30% of land and water by 2030, as these are, key human, these are amenities that humans use, right? Drink, breathe, play in. And then of course the City of Trees Challenge. That is an initiative that our council president has initiated, where we are trying to grow the canopy by 30%. actually, and plant 100,000 new trees in the city. And then, of course, the water renewal plan, which is directly related to the protection of clean and future drinking water sources. So I started thinking about this after our last meeting, when we were discussing the improvement project application from BSU and realizing that we need to decide as a committee if we need to update and revise the conservation criteria to make sure that it continues to be relevant as the science of conservation evolves and as the policy of the city evolves and as our community expectations evolve. So what I am going to suggest is that the committee create a work group, and I'm thinking 3 members to evaluate the existing criteria with my help, of course, if you want it, and to determine, if we need to update this conservation criteria based on the addition of new information and sort of new community expectations around conservation. That's it. You want to? So I think, obviously we can talk about this, but my ask would be, I think we need a motion to create a work group and for 3 of you to volunteer to be a part of it. And what you're committing to is, I'm guessing, probably 2 to 3 hours of work time outside of the normal meeting schedule, meeting with me, and I will bring, all the research and all of the information to you, and you will look through it and make some recommendations to your broader committee about what updates may need to be added.
Okay, is there a motion to create, I'm supposed to do this?
Sure.
Is there a motion to create a, what was the phrase, all of you?
3-member work group?
3-member work group?
So you do the motion, do that first, and then we'll see the volunteers.
That's my hope,
Right.
yeah.
So is there a motion to create a 3-person work group to work with Commissioner Arkell to revise the criteria for
Partnership application package.
partnership application package?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, or do we need to do a roll call?
We can do one. Might as
I'll leave it up to the secretary.
well. We'll do one. Crier,
Here, yes.
Donahue,
Yes.
Elliott,
She's frozen.
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Pengilly,
Yes.
Raymer,
Yes.
Nowaki,
Yes.
Yes.
Member Ferber is absent. So who wants to be my buddy? Matt.
Did you say 2 or 3 hours a month or a week?
Well, I'm hoping it'll just be, 2 or 3 additional hours total. If I'm doing a good job on your behalf, it's 2 or 3 additional hours total.
This is Scott Rayberg. You can count me in.
Okay.
Two.
I would
I can-
also be.
I can do it.
The language in the packet says less than 5 members, so if you don't mind 4, I would be also willing to help.
Yeah, that works. And was that Stacy, the other one who raised her hand?
Yeah.
Great.
Yes, well.
I got 4. Thank you very much. I appreciate you are intrepid adventurers on this, interesting self-guided tour. Great. Okay, so that's it. That was all I had today.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, and I just add, I think I don't want to, Superintendent Arkell she kind of downplayed what we're doing a little bit just to keep those 4 that volunteered, make sure we got our volunteers, but now I'll jump in and say that it actually is a pretty important part of this right now. This is kind of a real advancement in our maturity as a open space and clean water advisory committee. In other words, this criteria was set forth in the very beginning And we've evolved since this criteria has been set in place, and we need to update it. And this is what you have used as your guideline, as your guidance. And so it's kind of, somewhat, it's a good thing. It's monumental though, I think, to update this with the changes, get it to the council, our city council, so that they know that we've got an eye on it. You as a committee have an eye on this and have recognized the changes that are occurring. And it no longer completely fits with this criteria that was established when the committee was established. And so I'm anxious to see what you all come up with. And I'm sure the council and the mayor and council are also excited as well. But we appreciate the volunteers that step forward. But it really is an important role right now moving forward, because it is going to charter the course of this committee.
Probably for the next 4 years.
Yeah, for at least the next 4 years. And so pretty important responsibility. So I just wanted to lay that out there. No pressure on you four, but once you four are done, then the pressure's on the entire committee, because you'll bring it back and we'll have basically workshop discussions with the entire committee to adopt what you will be bringing forward, which will be really a set of new criteria on applications moving forward. So anyway, just kind of wanted to get that out there.
One other thing, since I have your attention, my expectation for how this will go for the 4 of you is I will review the relevant plans and then bring forth the concepts, strategies, goals therein that relate back to the levy language. And then we will have a discussion about which ones and where and how they should fit. And then the committee work group will make some recommendations based off that information to the committee as a whole. That's how I think this will go. All right.
Sarah, or Commissioner Arkell, can I ask a question?
Of course.
Will that information be summarized or available for the non-work committee members? I mean, is there a?
Sure, Catherine, sure. So that what I would say is, if you are not selected as a work group member and yet highly interested in knowing the details of these plans, they are all available publicly, and I can send links out to every one of you for each one of those plans. What I would probably anticipate would be that the work group would come back in a month or two with sort of a laundry list.
Or an update, maybe even an update
Yeah.
in between.
Oh, sure.
On
We
where
can-
we're
Yeah, okay, yeah. And then we can make sure that all of those discussions are shared with the group as a whole.
And I think it's important for us as members, old members and new members, to talk to our friends and acquaintances about what they perceive what the expectations of our goals are. Because they have changed and stuff, and I don't think people really understand about the applications and stuff. And I think that's a good way of gauging on this as well, besides just doing an online survey.
Yeah.
Because these have changed, and because I get feedback from my friends all the time and stuff. I'm curious, what's going on? Are you doing this?
Right. Well, and each one of these, like the climate action roadmap, the water renewal plan, the America the Beautiful, each one of those initiatives and plans had a fair amount of citizen engagement in it also. So I think that's the point for me, is looking at those and making sure the information that we're getting from these other community planning efforts and initiatives is threaded through into how we're doing our application assessments. So, okay, well, thank you, everyone. No committee updates. Do a motion to adjourn.
Okay, we have a motion, and there's no executive session.
On today.
Okay, is there a motion to adjourn? We're all done with all of our business today. Are there any updates that you have for us about acquisitions?
Heroes Trail.
Heroes Trail dedication was yesterday.
That's all right.
So for those of you who are not aware, about 2 years ago, I was approached by some residents who live in the North End and the North End Neighborhood Association about creating a formal connection from the end of Union Street into Military Reserve and up to Elephant Loop. And I thought, well, shoot, I might as well just ask the Veterans Association, the Veterans Administration, maybe they'd be okay with it. And after a couple of years of discussion and kind of figuring out how to do it, fortuitously had a donation from St. Luke's to construct the trail.
Wow.
And so we were able to put it in this last year, and it's a beautiful trail. If you haven't tried it out yet, it's a little less than a mile of new trail that connects, like I said, Union Street through the Veterans Administration and Veterans Hospital campus up into Military Reserve. David Gordon, our trail manager, Bridge Traverse trail manager, came up with a very wonderful and apt name, Heroes Trail. And so that trail is dedicated to current and past and service members, as well as our frontline healthcare workers. It was a really nice event yesterday. Not only to open the trail and kind of offer enhanced recreational opportunities for folks who are working at the Veterans Hospital and on the St. Luke's campus, give them enhanced access into the foothills so they can go for a hike on their lunch hour or whatever. And then also just to demonstrate the support that we get from the community to improve, the health and well-being of our hardworking service members and healthcare workers. So Doug did a great job introducing the mayor and council members, and we had a ribbon cutting, and gosh, it'd be nice to get all of us out into the foothills at some point, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll try and set up a short hike. We can't do it in one big group, but we can do it in a couple of small groups.
Yeah.
Is Union Street the street that runs up along the edge of the VA?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a weird little street, kinda. It
Feels like old boys.
yeah, it's really narrow, and there's a bunch of construction going on right there now. So if you went there now, the road's kind of closed. It's got some weirdness to it right now, but if you went through Memorial Park, as soon as you get through Memorial Park there by 4th Street, and you just kind of go off, it's like the very next road. It takes you right there.
Right.
There's also a way to get in from the VA, but it's not marked. You just come into a parking lot there adjacent to. It's before you get to 5th Street, so it's obviously, I don't even know. It's hard to even describe. You come off the loop at the top, and it's the parking lot right below the loop, and if you go through the parking lot, it takes you right over to that.
They close it off with the Ruby Ridge Drive. That's gonna do it. Is it? Yeah, because I know Dave Wade who lived right there. That was always open. It was kind of neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a social trail for a long time. I think the nice thing about this is now it's formal access. We have a managed trail alignment that is sustainable with signage. And we have buy-in from the property owner for trespass. So that's actually kind of important.
Kind of is.
Did you have a question, Michelle?
It's a different topic.
Sure.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I was hoping, I don't know Tia or Patty.
Yeah, you want to hear a little bit
Would
of
it be
it?
okay?
Sure.
You girls mind, ladies, mind, tell us about yourself?
Not at all.
I'm happy to jump in. So I actually work for St. Luke's. I work in the orthopedic department for an orthopedic surgeon. I also work as a health coach for an independent company. And I'm an avid runner, ultra runner, spent a lot of time on the green belts and the foothills. So I'm super excited to be a part of this group and help any way I can. And feel free to ask me any questions too. That's kind of my quick overview.
Great. Thank you.
Tia also just did the Conservation Voters for Idaho Boards and Commissions Fellowship, and which we did together. So, but I'm Patty Bowen. I currently work for Conservation Voters for Idaho as their environmental justice associate. Before that, I was working for Power Engineers, specializing in battery energy storage. I like Tia. I'm also a trail runner, and I like to do a lot of bike riding and hiking, and just I've lived in Boise for most of my life, so really excited to be able to be a part of this committee and help keep our open space open and our water clean. So
Great.
Great.
Thank you to you both. Thanks, Michelle.
Oh, another status update, the Percy property, what's the status on that?
Yeah, so we are in the kind of purgatory, I guess you could say. We have, everyone signed the agreement. We're working on a few last details, and we hope to close sometime this month.
And then the property out there on the backside of Winco, off of Eisman Road?
Yes, that's off the table.
Oh,
And that would be something we would need to talk about in executive session.
Okay.
But I will give one more update. And, I'm sorry, I thought we did that last time we met in executive session.
We might have that.
Okay. One more update. We are, in the process of building Hawkins, Loop.
Oh, yeah.
We are about to get shut down by the weather and season. So we hope to have that loop completed next year. And we are working through various details to get a trailhead in place. So that's all happening. It may open in 2023, a little later than planned, but it's in the works. So, yay, right?
Okay,
Great. Well, thank you, everyone.
motion to adjourn.
Okay, motion to adjourn. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting today.
And I'll second it. Can I do that?
No.
I think you.
Me?
I'll second.
Second.
Thanks, Matt.
All up there.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
All those in favor?
Bye.
Any opposed?
Aye.